The Toronto Raptors are in a desperate bid to keep themselves competitive for the upcoming season, but have a very limited amount of cap space to try and do so, which leads to cheaper and veteran signings just like the newest signing coming to the team in Garrett Temple. So, what can the player really bring to the team at 37 years old, and is it a good signing? Let's get into it. Welcome everybody to Amateur Hour Sports. This is a YouTube channel that's dedicated to Toronto Raptors coverage, and it's the channel that just hit 15,000 subscribers. Thank you so much to everybody for helping us hit this monumental milestone on the channel. I am so grateful for the Amateur Hour Army, and there is much more on the way. So make sure you are subscribed as well. Get all this great content all about the Raptors all throughout the offseason and beyond. But today, the full focus is on the newest Raptor, as it was just revealed today that the Raptors have signed Garrett Temple to a one-year deal worth $3.2 million. And it really seems as though all signs are pointing towards the Raptors wanting to be competitive for the upcoming season. As much as it may be the foolish plan for the Raptors to go and do so, there may not be a great evacuation plan here. The Raptors don't have a first-round pick to fall on for the upcoming season, at least one that is realistically obtainable, as their first-round pick that is on the way to the San Antonio Spurs is top 6 protected. I would say it's quite unlikely the Raptors are bottom 6 in the NBA, or close enough that the lottery odds would be sufficient enough for us to want to be as bad of a team, and with talented players like Siakam, Anunoby, Barnes, etc., this team is likely going to be striving to make the playoffs this season. And despite losing Fred VanVleet to the Houston Rockets in free agency, Masai Ujiri wants to put a competitive team out there. He's made an intent on doing so by signing Dennis Schroder right after losing Fred VanVleet. They brought in Jalen McDaniels, they've drafted Gradey Dick, and now, with the cap constrictions and difficulties in finding players, we're only able to sign veteran minimum players, really, and it seems that is just what we've done with Garrett Temple. So, Garrett Temple, 37 years old, he's about to go into his 14th NBA season. What can he really bring to the Raptors at this point in his career? Garrett Temple, hey, he's built himself a long NBA career with a number of different teams, being a sort of role player for a considerable amount of time. The biggest part of Garrett Temple's game, really, he's a bit of a tenacious player, brings a lot of heart, good locker room guy at this point, but can shoot the ball decently well. It's just at this age, what can we really expect this player to bring to the team? In order to try and answer that, let's talk about what he achieved last season with the New Orleans Pelicans. Well, with the Pelicans last season, I mean, the fact that he got waived about a month ago kind of tells you exactly what his role was with the team. More of a locker room guy, didn't have much of a presence on the court, only played in 25 games last season, did not start any of those games, and only averaged 6.5 minutes in those games. But in those games, very limited amount of time, so it's not the best indicator of the player, but he did average 2 points per game, 0.5 assists, 0.7 rebounds, with field goal percentages that maybe give us a little bit of hope for the player. 40% shooting from the field, but a nice 42.3% shooting from three, and of that shooting, only had 1 of 10 per game from three. But here's a player who has been efficient in his career. He's a career 34.5% three-point shooter. The Raptors are maybe hoping for some of that, and maybe we can go to the previous season where he played a little bit more to provide a little bit more context into the exact player that he is. But unfortunately for this one, when the sample size was much bigger, played in just under 60 games and started about 16 of those games as well, Garrett Temple didn't really produce from a statistical standpoint here either. Yes, there was more points, rebounds, and assists with those 5 points per game, 2.4 rebounds, and 1.3 assists. But we really saw the field goal percentages drop there when there was a higher volume of opportunities for the player. Only 37% from the field shooting and 32% shooting from three. Also a pretty sharp dip in free throw percentage there as well. Garrett Temple, I mean, it's hard to go back 2 years because this is when age really starts to take a toll on a player. He's 37 years old now. He was 35 years old in that season where he did average those 5 points, and all there is really that you can expect for the player at this point is a downhill trend here. And this is coming from a player who just came off a team that also failed to make the playoffs after losing in the play-in tournament. So what the Raptors are really trying to do here, they have assessed that they have a relatively young team. They have a relatively inexperienced team. And the locker room was such a concern for the team last season. There were claims that Nick Nurse lost the locker room. There were claims that Fred VanVleet was bad for the locker room. And in general, whatever the reason was, whoever's fault it was, it really felt as though the locker room was not there. That cohesion between everybody in the team, the unison, the cohesion of the unit just didn't really seem to be there last season. So the Raptors are trying to do as much as possible to try and rectify that. And they might be willing to pay somebody $3.2 million to try and rectify that error, because that's all I really see from this situation. Garrett Temple, I don't expect him to have any real sort of role with the team in the upcoming season other than trying to be that locker room guy. And the Raptors, to be honest, they're already lacking in the guard department. Yeah, we've added in a bunch of different guards to try and recoup as much as we can from the Fred VanVleet loss, but the point guard depth of the team is very, very thin. It's Dennis Schroder, Malachi Flynn, along with Jeff Dowden and two-way guys like Marquise Noel and Javon Carter-Freeman. As far as the shooting guard department goes, you've got Gary Trent Jr. and you've got Gradey Dick. And Gradey Dick, at this point, yeah, we're all very hopeful for the player. Don't know exactly what we have out of the player yet. So maybe working with a player like Garrett Temple, a seasoned shooting guard in this league, could be good for the player. And as far as the guard depth, you could also add in Scotty Barnes to the point guard depth if you would want to do that as well. So as far as the shooting guards, we don't have many, and one of them is extremely young. So why not bring in a veteran player who can help Gradey Dick? Why not bring in a veteran player who can help with the locker room? Because at this point, there's not really anybody this team can sign with the financial capabilities that are here that would make any sort of ultimate difference with the team. We have a lot of these young players we're trying to gamble on. We have the roster filled out from the best that we can do for the upcoming season. Let's bring in a veteran guy who's been there, he's done it all around the league, and knows how to play a specific role for the team. I don't think this is a bad signing. I don't necessarily think this is a good signing. This is likely a signing that's not really going to factor much for the team for the upcoming season, but with Thaddeus Young's contract being picked up for the sake of being trade bait for the upcoming season, at least if we lose Thaddeus Young, we don't lose that veteran seasoned player to have in the locker room as well. So as far as grading this, we'll give this one like a B. It's like the cheapest deal you probably could have given a player. There wasn't really anybody else that we were going to really look to sign, so why not bring in a player just like this for the team? And hey, if there are injuries in the shooting guard department, and if maybe somehow Garrett Temple finds that three-point shooting stroke, then this could be a player that provides a decent role for the team. The risk here is very minimal. The reward here is, not extraordinarily high, but there is a good amount of reward that could come out of this situation if he's helping the young players, if he can contribute on the floor in any way whatsoever. And if all those things come together, this makes a lot of sense. If it doesn't work out, then, you wipe your hands clean on a pretty cheap contract and try again at the trade deadline, maybe signing somebody else, like, the Will Barton signing after waiving Juancho Hernangomez. Hopefully something works out a little bit better here than it did with those two players, but this signing is just fine. So the Raptors have filled out 20 other 21 summer camp spots as far as their guaranteed guys for the upcoming season. It seems like Garrett Temple is on those guaranteed spots. So 15 guaranteed spots are out there for the Raptors for the upcoming season. They're probably going to be looking to add in one more Exhibit 10 guy, so keep a lookout for that in the coming weeks. But this signing as a whole, yeah, it's solid. Can't complain, can't really gas it up too much. It's Garrett Temple, It's Garrett Temple, and that's all there really is to it. So what do you make of this signing? Do you think this is a good signing or a bad signing for the Raptors? Why don't you give it a grade as well? Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below, because that is it for me for today. Thank you so much again for helping this channel hit 15,000 subscribers. Drop a like if you enjoyed, and join the Amateur Hour Army today by subscribing to the channel for more great Raptors content on the horizon. I'll see you again very soon for some more from Amateur Hour Sports.